right here. You know, Gary Williams called me and he said, would you host a roast? And I said, well, I'd love to. I said, who we roasting? He said, Tony Cantu. And I said, well, who the is that? Well, there's no way that little son of a bitch could still be alive. Well, we got our roast, and as I look over there, it looks like we got a bunch of vegetables to go along with the roast. This wasn't an easy thing to put together because if you think about it, a roast for Tony Cantu. I mean, how hard is it to find a place that's within 200 yards of a grade school? It's not an easy thing to do. He's the only guy that I know that has bling on his ankle bracelet. Tony's got a new book coming out. I'll look forward to that. It's going to be out at the bookstores. It's called Pedophile, Friend or Foe? I tell you, I've known Tony a long, long time. I remember back before his sex change operation. If you know Tony, you're gonna believe this story. Tony comes out one night, you know, Tony, wired, and he walks up and I'm playing a gig out here, and he comes up and he's like, Tim, I am your biggest fan. I love you, man. And I thought, what? That meant a lot to me. It really did. And then he turns around and there's this guy leaning over tying his shoe and he goes, man, I am your biggest fan. I love you, man. So, you lost a lot of credibility. Not that you ever had any credibility to begin with. But I had Tony. Tony's a hard rocker. And I had Tony actually do a gig with me. Now, I play country music. So Tony wants to do a gig with me. I said, Tony, what country do you know? And he goes, Mexico? It was the night from hell with this guy. His timing was so off that he felt so bad about it that when he got done, he tried to kill himself. The son of a bitch threw himself behind the train. That's how bad his timing was. I think there's some people out there that done some picking with Tony, huh? But I do a gig with him and Steve Kelton.
Wow!
Yeah. Let me tell you about this gig. So I tell Tony, I said, now this is like a black tie dinner thing at the Holiday Inn. He comes dressed as a pimp. I wanted to shoot him. I swear to God, I wanted to shoot him. Him and Steve decided to have a little recreational items before they did the show. Yeah, it was you. It was you. I know it was you because I had to get the maintenance guy to get a ladder to get you off the ceiling to come down and play the gig. I'm not kidding. The way he dresses like a pimp, you know. It's like a Mexican who wanted to be a black guy. I've never understood that. I said, why don't you just date black women? He goes, well, if we had kids, they'd be too lazy to steal. You know, we could say whatever we want to Tony because he's not going to remember anything tomorrow, you know. He's nothing going to remember. You know, as I look around the room, Tony, I see a lot of friends here, but I just don't see any of your family. I guess you'd have to go to prison to see them. I really should. I shouldn't make fun of his family because a few years ago, Tony was in a one-car accident and it injured 12 of his family members.
Wow.
I remember one time Tony called me, well, you actually put this thing on Facebook, you probably saw it. He needed a ride to Kroger's. I said, all right. So I took him down to Kroger's. 2 hours, he stood there picking fruit. Must be in the blood, I guess. The only thing we ended up getting was he bought cherry Kool-Aid. I said, what do you need cherry Kool-Aid for? He said, I need lip gloss. That's where you're going. I asked Tony one time, I said, you know, why do you play bass? Why don't you play guitar? And he said, well, it's a lot easier to steal 4 strings. Speaking of Facebook, a while ago, Tony's got a Facebook account, and I'm really surprised because up until a year ago, the only thing he thought that was on the internet was manboylove.com. But the world needs guys like Tony Cantu. They really do, because whenever I'm down on my luck, like most of you, I think to myself, man, at least I ain't Tony Cantu. All right, let's get on with our roasters out there. I guess the first one we got in line, Sarah White.